So basically this past year or during COVID, I made well, every year I sort of set some goals. So last year I set a goal that I wanted to bike for 50 miles and I wanted to swim for an hour. And ended up biking 60 miles and I ended up swimming for an hour and a half. So once I did that, I said this year, okay, well, how am I going to top it? So I heard of this thing called a century ride. So I said, okay, I want to run, I want to do a full 100-mile bike ride. So I sort of did that. And so I got on a plan and started doing it. And I was like, well, COVID hit. I couldn't really swim like I wanted to. So I started running and I set a goal. Well, by the end of the year, I want to be able to run a 10K. Well, then after I finished after I finished the century ride and I felt really good, there was a part of me, I know of a friend of mine who does the Ironman. And it was sort of I said, oh, okay, well, you know what? I set a goal. I said by the time I turn 51, which I turn 50 next year, in August, I said, by the time I'm 51, I want to do the Ironman. I want to compete in it and do it. And so then I said, so next year, my goal is to be able to, is a 2.4-mile swim. And then you do a 112-mile ride. And then you do a marathon. So 26.2-mile run. And I said, well, okay, I want to be able to do all three of those next year. Well, then when I sort of thought about it, I talked to my friend Dave. He says, well, you already swam the majority of it. It's about an hour and 50-minute swim. Well, you've already done an hour and a half. It's about a 112-mile ride where you've already biked 100. So then I'm like, well, the only thing really left is the marathon. So then I just decided I'm gonna go ahead and do the full Ironman. So that really was what set the whole thing off and said, okay, I think I'm gonna do it next year.
That's awesome. So maybe can you give a little background on your experience with like athletic training previous to Ironman?
So,
Outside of what you just shared with us.
okay, so when I was in my 20s, I did a lot of lifting weights. I did some running. I pretty much stopped working out when I had children, and I pretty much lived off genetics because my metabolism basically worked the whole time. And then probably late 20s, did some working out. I would always work out off and on, doing some running, whatever, trying to stay active. And then I would say in my 40s, I was working out pretty regularly, off and on. I mean, more on than off, but I would just do running periodically and just trying to just stay fit, not get. There's a place called Chunkyville, and pretty much everyone heads there. It's just a matter of how fast you're going. And my goal is to slow down the pace at which I head towards Chunkyville, even though I know I'm headed there. So that's my motivation.
I love it. Okay, so you're going to be spearing your process
Yes.
to the Ironman. So can you talk about kind of the SPEAR process and then how you're going to relate that to Ironman training versus business?
Sure. So basically the SPEAR process is the SPEAR is an acronym for SMART, Goal, Plan, Execute, Analyze, and Realign. And so you start out with a SMART goal. So what are you trying to accomplish? And so the goal is to complete the Ironman, be healthy. So I want no injuries, and I want to be able to function and move and walk around after I'm done. So a couple of days later, like I want to be in good shape. And so so that's the goal. Well, what's the plan? The plan is so you can buy plans online, and I just sort of put together my own sort of plan to be able to do this. So I started started working my plan, and then the E is you execute. So you actually start doing it, and then you analyze what's working and not working, and then you realign. Well, and realign means making changes to the plan. Well, one of the things that I did sort of in doing this is when putting together my plan, I thought I've never done a triathlon before, so it would be arrogant on my part to think this thing is just going to work. So I went and talked to a professional triathlete who she's a world champion, and she said, actually, you're overtraining. And she said that people my age, our age, because she's a couple years older than me, she said people our age, we need at the most three weeks of build and then 1 week of recovery. So what you do is you increase. So I'll use the running as the easiest one. So this particular week I'm in a build week. So I'm gonna run 7 miles. Then the next week I run 8 miles, and then the next week I run 9 miles. But then the next week I actually cut it back in half. So I'll go back to 4.5. And then I'll go and start building again to 10, 11, 12, then come back to 6 and sort of do that. Well, that's one thing that she said that you need to do. The second thing was I was doing interval training where I do hills one day and then do sprints on the Wednesday. So 3 days a week that I'm running. Well, she said, you shouldn't do both of those in the same week. You actually should go every other week doing one or the other. And then on my middle, so that's my first week. So it's 3 workouts. Run 1 is hills or these interval trainings. Workout 2 is actually a zone 2. So there's 5 different heart zones. Zone 1 is what we are right now. You and I sitting there talking. Zone 2 is where you're just getting it just enough where it's easy. Zone 3 is aerobic. Zone 4 is called threshold. And then zone 5 is like your max. And like if you're running at zone 5, it's like you're sprinting. If someone was chasing you and you're scared for your life, you can run that, but you're only running for so long. And she said that so on my second runs, I should be doing a zone 2 for 3 miles. It's right above walking and right below jogging, like whatever. It's so I did that today. Like I did my 3 miles zone 2. It's hard to keep your heart at zone 2, but I guess once you do this, you actually can increase your speeds after a while in zone 2 to a point where you're running. It allows you to run further, and you actually have a better level of fitness by running at a slower pace for longer periods of time. So so if you're doing a full Ironman, you're going to do that in zone 2 the entire time, which it should be easy for you to do it. If you're doing a half Ironman, you're doing that in zone 3, which is an aerobic. And if you're doing an Olympic, you'll be around zone 4. And then if you're doing a sprint, you'll be at zone 5. But these are all levels. Well, I have to teach my body how to be in a zone 2 health-wise. So it's way less stress. I mean, it looks like I'm not working out. It's funny. It's almost embarrassing when I'm outside running because I'm really not running. I'm sort of scooting like an older person. But if I'd have kept doing it the way I was doing, I was actually putting additional stress on my body, and my body would break down. So therefore, in the analyze phase of the SPEAR, the A, it's what's working and not working. In your mind, you think, oh, I'm moving fast to get to my goal. But the reality is, from a professional perspective, you're actually injuring yourself. It's just a matter of time. So that's my adjustment that I need to make. And one of the things I've sort of learned is that our body needs vacation, just like our business needs vacation. And it's important that we make that adjustment and build those things in. And so it's regularly built into my training. And as a matter of fact, I'm ahead of my training right now. So if I find that my body isn't reacting to 3 weeks of build and in 1 week of coming back, I may shut it down and go to 2 weeks of build and 1 week of recovery, just to give myself more time to get my body right.
Okay, so if people want to follow along with your Ironman journey, what can they expect out of you?
Well, I'm going to just be honest with you about setbacks, triumphs, thoughts, emotions. It's definitely a journey. It's not linear. Um, I'm going to give you really the insight on what I'm thinking, how I'm feeling. I don't like to talk about my feelings all the time, unless they're like man feelings, which is happy, angry. Maybe you may get a sad, maybe every once in a while, but basically happy and angry too. But I'm going to try and really give you a sense of the reason why I want to do it is this. Each person can achieve their greatness if they choose to pursue it and remove the obstacles to that pursuit. I want to help you see the goal and remove any barrier that prevents you from achieving that goal. That's really what this is about. And so the reason I read all these stories about, oh, what do these people think, and what do all these great people do, was because I want to see their pattern and learn from them and ultimately achieve what I'm trying to achieve based on their results. Foolish is the man who learns purely from experience. The wise people are able to learn from other people's mistakes and avoid them the best they know how. I don't want to be a fool and an arrogant person. And I don't want the people to have to experience my losses if they can avoid them by learning from me. So I guess that's really my motivation from this.
All right. Anything else?
I hope you share with me. I hope you guys set some goals for yourself. I'm really trying to talk Steph into doing something. She's interviewing me, and my goal is I'm trying to talk to staff members to do the same thing, to set some goals, and it some kind of physical fitness goal. And it does not have to be running or jumping or swimming or biking or whatever. Just do something. I don't care if you want to walk consistently, because I mean, there's enough studies that show that walking will achieve the same results as the others. That everyone comes on a journey with me, because I don't have a person who has started to work out and followed this advice. I have not one person that's regretted it. So if there's something you need to do, it's your hard thing, why don't you jump on the bandwagon and let us know, become accountable to it, and let's crush our goals together.